So he didn't refer himself to the prophecy of Micah. He didn't refer himself to that prophecy of Micah chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4. And he did not also refer himself to that Luke chapter 1, verse 17. So does it mean that his father did not told him that, see what the angels say about you? No. No. Then Jesus said that if you are willing to accept that Elijah has come and Elijah is John, it's not talking about the incarnation of Elijah, but it's talking about the spirit. It's talking about the spirit and power. So it was not transfer of anointing. Don't forget, the other way around, Elijah did not die. So even though John come in that spirit, it does not mean that John was Elijah physical. No, they have different assignment. But the issue is that the message that the John preached is the message that bring the same message, that similar message that Elijah bring. Their duty is to bring the people of Israel back to the people. Is to bring the men back to God. And John fulfilled that. John did not manifest power. He didn't manifest power. And Jesus said he's the greatest among all the prophets. And at the mountain of transfiguration, Elijah appeared. Elijah appeared, talking with Jesus. So when we come to this angle of John coming in the spirit of Elijah, is deep. Maybe one day we will talk about that. But don't forget that Elijah did not die. But he's talking about dead men. He's talking about dead men, dead fathers, people that are long gone. There is no anointing of any dead man that is calling anybody. If there is any anointing, any man to calling the prophetic of any dead man, calling somebody to come and pick it, who will pick it? That is Susora. That is Susora. Necromancer, stargazers. It is not biblical. Even though a man can walk like another, but that does not mean. Peter said, he that I received as an oracle of God, say, minister on that angle. You that carry faith, minister on that faith. You talk about the other time he was quoting Hebrew chapter 12, talking about we are surrounded by the cloud. No, he's not talking about mantle. He's not talking about mantle. It's different from the prophetic. That word in Hebrew chapter 12 is different from the prophetic. It's talking about faith. We are not surrounded by them. They are long dead. What does it mean of that surrounding? Is it that people that they have, preachers that they have dead, gone, they have testimony that you can witness with those testimony and encourage yourself to stand, not acquiring the power or the anointing, the one we will talk about, the mantle, going extra mind to go and do some dangerous thing to get that because you want to operate in that angle. No, it is not what it's saying. That is why I say we should lay aside all those things that easily cause us to sin against God. Those things that easily trip in and make us to sin against God. We should set them away. That is what he's trying to say. He's not saying, he's not talking about mantle. There are a lot of things that we need to know about the dead and the living. Ecclesiastes will say that if a man died, the memory has long gone. He has nothing to do with the living. He has nothing. He has nothing. The entire Old Testament, I've not seen where I've not seen where the apostles communicate with the dead one. No. Even when the dead, maybe we call them dead, appear on the mountain of transfiguration, God by himself said, don't forget about the grace that these people carry. Forget about the anointing that these people carry. Forget about the mantle that they carry. Hear Jesus. That is the instruction. So they have nothing. We might learn things from them, but we are not the same. Each person is designed by God. The Bible said to us in Ephesians, we are operating by this different office, different grace. You might look onto somebody and you will desire and say, I want to be like that. You can't be like that. You have different things to fulfill. But am I saying that the prophetic has nothing to no, I'm not speaking against the prophetic. I really love the prophetic because I operate in that angle. I really love it. But seeing dead men in dream, instruction given to us, that mystery must work in line with the Bible. And if you find out that that mystery is not in line with God, run from it. And there is no dead man anointing mantle that is calling people to pick up. You have your own assignment to fulfill. You are greater than many of them. You might love their office, the way they operate. You might desire to, because little things might happen. You learn from them, but you must not deviate from the original call. You might try to operate like them, but that does not mean. But I want you to understand something. There are levels that you will go. You become a sorcerer. Because in the Old Testament, the New Testament, I did not see that in the life of the apostle. Then why will it happen in our time? Why should it happen? Paul said that if another man come and tell you another thing, say don't believe. So the prophetic must be properly guided so that we will not lead people into error in the name of acquiring power, mantle calling. There is no mantle. It is only God that is calling. It is Jesus that called people. It is Jesus that pushed people to where you can desire more and prayed about it. Find out who you are. If your grace is like that, is like that man, you might decide to watch the person, to follow that pattern, to try to, because you love the person, but you will never be the person. The mantle is different. He died, the mantle died with him. Saul died, Samuel died, and the mantle died with Samuel. And when he was called out from grave, he was wearing the mantle. The mantle was with him. Elijah did not die. That is why the mantle did not go with him. By the way, the mantle is supposed not to go with him, because he said to Elisha, if you see me going, the mantle will be given to you. If you see me moving, the mantle will. So the ability of seeing is what we look for and understanding. The prophetic is great. If you see them, you might see, because they are familiar spirit. Either the familiar spirit is for good or is for evil. The end of every familiar spirit matter. That is why most of the time I begin to look when somebody preach powerfully, when they come to the prophetic manifestation, that is when you are going to know who they are. That is when you are going to know who they are. So are you desiring for the prophetic? Paul say, convert them. You have the desire, you have the will to have covetousness on that aspect of gift and go further. He said, desire them. Desire any gift you want. Pray towards it, but not from the dead man. Not from the dead man. I believe you understand. Just react to it. I really love the young man because one way or the other, it encouraged me.